In my last video, I talked about Frogan trying to be served, and she was hiding from it so she could get out of there so she wouldn't have to face the consequences. You know, the old, I'm not home so you can't get me. The greatest game of hide and seek that Frogan is playing. And I'm sure if she was on Mr. Beast's game at that time, she would have been found months later after the cameras had stopped. You know, she is the greatest at playing this game. We've had a bit of an update, and as I've been continuing to touch grass and having adventures, then I thought I would update you on the story because I think I have to on this point. I have to. It does make me laugh all the time that Frogan has been going after Ethan and saying shit, and now she is reaping the repercussions. And yeah, she's just trying to hide behind that sofa once again.
She will have to find a lawyer and respond. She's not hiding anymore. The service she received is something called substitute service, which is fine. So if you different states will have different laws, but if you go there 3 times and you can't find anyone, or you did find somebody and maybe that person wasn't the description for Frogan, but as long as you leave the documents there, as long as you mail. So substitute service by leaving copies: Jane Doe, occupant African American or Middle Eastern, female, 40s, 5'6", 155 pounds. Long curly hair, dark eyes, home. At the dwelling, house, usual place of abode. Papers were served on 7/14 to 2025, 6/12. Papers were mailed. And due diligence, I made at least 3 attempts to personally serve the defendant. He actually made 4. So you cannot not, at this point in time, substitute service has already been done. That's why the process server is not attempting to do it again and again. You literally could, I guess, do this 100 times before you find Frogan. Now, there are consequences if Frogan doesn't reply. So in my opinion, the processor, who is a official processor, they did everything officially. I have my concerns as to why they did it this way, but nonetheless, they have, in my opinion, done the legal necessary thing to be a substitute service.
It just makes me think, in the long run, why hide? Everyone knows that people know about this. This, to me, shows that you can't talk a big game and run when things get heated. I would think that over everything that Frogan has talked about would mean that if any of the repercussions, that wouldn't hurt her because we don't want any kind of hurt or any of those bad repercussions. It just shows that she can't take it. Hell, didn't even Miskiff make her cry with something so simple about her being a Rising Star 2 champion, and she just absolutely lost it and started crying, demanding that he apologizes and takes down the video or something like that. It definitely shows that when the heat comes, she can't take absolutely any of it. I'm now guessing that she has the papers. She will scramble to find a lawyer, which, again, I find humorous, is that she just doesn't have a lawyer, and she knew this was coming for such a long time. I still think that she thought that it would expire in 14 days if she didn't have it, and then she would go on a podcast and be all smug and say what she normally says and be like, well, Ethan tried to sue me, but he couldn't find me. The dumbass didn't know my home address, and now it's expired. Boo hoo. I generally think that would have come out of her mouth. But we now move on to something that will really get her in trouble, and if this happens, she's going to go to jail.
What happens if you ignore? How you can be held in contempt of court, and the court may issue an order to show cause or a motion to compel. The next step could be the judge issues a contempt order. So if you still don't respond, so now it's not just Ethan saying, hey, respond. It's the court stepping in saying, you got to respond to me, regardless of you responding to Ethan, because I believe substitute service has been applied, has been successfully completed. So in that case, then the judge will issue a contempt order, and this can involve fines or even jail time to force your compliance. So they can actually get a warrant for you to put you in jail.
Rather than paying and going to court to settle all of this and prove that you're innocent, then you're just trying to hide and put your fingers in your ears, hoping that all of this goes away. Are you that stupid that you think that what you're doing is fine? I can just see her pouting and huffing around her home, saying it's not fair, and she would just ignore all of this. No one wants to go to jail, and just take what you're owed. As if it was the other way around, then you would want to get this sorted straight away, and you would complain about it all the time. You generally would, Frogan. You would be complaining about this all the time on Twitter and on your podcast and in your streams. Now, if the judge summons her in, then I would imagine that she would turn up with the tail between her legs and try and argue that she is in the right and try to get out of it there. I mentioned in my last video that the service that is handing out the documents may have got it wrong due to the description of the person as what people were saying. I do think they should have had a picture with them so that they know who they were serving to, because then it would be 10 times easier. But I would also imagine that the company wouldn't have got it wrong, as they are professionals and that they do this for a living, so they know that they would have got the right person. And I think it's been confirmed that she's actually been served. For all of this, I just find it weird that they would steal, talk shit, and when the time comes for them to face the music, one of the three stooges just runs away thinking that they can get away with it and hide. You stole content. You have been on the side of people that have been harassing Ethan, and now the consequences are coming your way, and you don't want to face the music. If this was the other way around, you'd be going after him, calling him out on Twitter, making more videos on him, and talking shit about him on your podcast, saying that he's a bitch, he's running away. These people would try to get out of absolutely anything so that they can walk away. And I know for a fact that if Frogan could get away with this, she would be dancing, making posts, and being all smug again, saying that it didn't work on her and all of that, and that she is just immune to absolutely anything, and then carry on doing the same shit all the time. Not to have a lawyer right now and that you're just running around is so bizarre to me. She tweeted out on the 20th of June that Ethan was suing her, and in just over a month that she doesn't have a lawyer, and yet you would think you would be doing all that you can right now just to grab one, or ask the other stooges how they're going on with it. Could they share a lawyer? Could they all team up or whatever? Most smart people would do this, but then we know that Caseytron, Denims, and Frogan aren't that smart at the moment. We did actually get kind of an interesting update, and I kind of really wanted to share it with you. Now, my kind of thought on this is, if she does this and goes through what I'm about to show you, then I reckon that some of her audience, Hassan's audience, and Hassan may turn on Frogan. That's just my kind of thought on that one, because generally I think that's what would happen. But what we're going to talk about is coming from Legal Mindset. So link to his video is going to be linked down in the description. So go and check it out.
Here. And I think now is the time for Frogie to strike if she can exploit this. So let's watch the video, and then you guys are going to see exactly what I'm talking about.
Does she think that she can give me that money and use it to give it to me in a settlement? That would be.
He's talking about the money from her legal defense fund. So both, Caseytron's, Denim, Frogan, they've all raised this settlement money. And at this point, yeah, they've got some money, but it's not that much money. The money that Ethan Klein will recover from the lawsuit is more than any of their legal defense funds. So just so you know, and also he's going to end up paying his lawyer more up front than even in their legal defense fund. So in terms of money, that money in and of itself, probably not the most compelling thing. Just throwing it out there.
The ultimate irony for all these people that donated is if she just takes all of it and gives it directly to me.
Would you accept that?
Yeah. I mean, she owes me more than that, though. She owes me more than that.
Oh, okay.
I'm garnishing.
All right. Well,
so when he says garnishing, what he means is he wants to either garnish her earnings, or garnish her going forward, or garnish her videos, so that's saying that the money that is in those funds is not enough. He's going to want to inflict pain upon her over time. And that's something that Frogie probably doesn't want. She probably, listen, sis, you probably don't want that. You don't want this looming over your head for the rest of your life, where you've got this guy Klein, this super villain. You know, like I said, he's like Dr. Evil's cousin here, right? You don't want this guy in your life for 10 years, 20 years, taking every single penny that comes in.
Not many people would have this choice, to be honest, and Frogan should be thinking about this. If you're given a way out, you might as well take it, but then if she does, I do think that people would turn on her. I think Denims and Casey Tron would be like, what the fuck? How can I get in on this? Or they will just resent her and over time would just split off and they would tear Frogan apart. I don't think Ethan cares about paying his lawyers, as he just wants to follow through on all of this, and rightfully so. Now, with Ethan taking Frogan's money for X amount of time till it's all paid off isn't a nice thing. I wouldn't like someone to be in my face constantly that I would have to give them money. It's just not a really good thing, and again, it's a really shitty thing. But if Frogan doesn't make much money from Twitch or other things, then this is going to force her to go and get a job, and that money is going to go to Ethan. So right now, she has a really good opportunity to get out of this. I think that Frogan isn't in a win-win situation. Then she should take this deal because it means that she won't have to continue paying off Ethan for some time, and it's probably going to be a less of a burden. Here is the money. Please leave me alone, Ethan. And I think Ethan should just be like, hey, don't ever talk about me ever again.
In one clean cut, I would say do it. And I would say that is a win. That's a huge win. So let's see what he says here.
You know, you might have to negotiate it out a little bit, but there you go, Frogan. There's your get out of jail free card.
Honestly,
all you have to do is just rip off your fans.
I had space in my heart to let her off with like creative settlement offers and stuff.
Sure.
But at this point, I think I'm not settling for.
Okay, so here's the weakness, guys. Did you see that? Did you hear that? Words are important. He had space in his heart. He has a heart, Frogan. He has a heart. Let's exploit that heart. Let's exploit that heart like all lawyers do. We use your weaknesses, including your emotions, your human emotions. We exploit those. See, many people put too much on trial. But settlement has so much power and so much tactics. And while I will admit that I do not have a long trial record, although all the cases that I attended to a trial and that I was on the case, all the cases I won, I have a 100% win record. But I did far more, countless settlements before you get the trial, before you even sue. You settle and you handle the issue. You negotiate it out. That's how big boys and girls do it. That's how businesses do it. That's how governments do it. They handle it before it goes to court. And that's the real win. That's the win that even most lawyers don't want to talk about because they don't profit as much. But if we're being honest, the win is not going to court. And so he said right here, he would think about creative solutions. That means that it's still a possibility.
We get a bit more in depth into what Ethan would do if this was done correctly. The question is, would this actually make Frogan do it? Give the money to Ethan, apologize, and actually mean it, not just give some lame ass excuse, because that would just generally piss me off. And as I said before, don't even speak about Ethan again. And if someone tries to get her to talk about it, just go, I'm not speaking about it. I generally think all of that would be absolutely fine. Common sense would be the best thing to apply here and actually think this through. Or is this going to be some shit that she says, nah, I want to go to court and then have to pay him even more? What does this mean for content creators though? On one hand, it means that if she does go through this and she pays off Ethan, I say 5 more videos would come out. The first one would be the verdict, and then the rest would be around about the fallout as everyone goes against her. Or if she fights this and loses, 1,000 more videos would be made out of this, and we would be talking about it till the end of time, which would be hilarious. With closing out the video, what happens next is going to be interesting to me. Either way, this might be a limited time offer. The longer she leaves it, the shorter the offer. Go and watch Legal Mindset's video on this, and he gives a really good example. But mainly, I would love to see the offer expire mainly, and considering how Frogan wants to run from this, then either she's not going to do it, or she's going to have to go to court. I think she should go to court, and Ethan should be like, nope, no more excuses. I want to send a message because you've been talking shit, and now you have to face the consequences. But yeah, I am going to leave it there. What are your thoughts about all of this? Let me know down below in the comments and let's discuss. And while you're down there, why not hit the like button and subscribe, as I'm trying to reach 1,000 subs by the end of the year. And with that, I'll leave it here.